to keep within 15 feet because the streets are total chaos. Nearly 1 million people are trying to cram into Times Square to celebrate New Year's Eve. And if I lose sight of them here, I'll never find them again. Every once in a while, one of the two checks to make sure they're not being followed, and I do my best to blend into the crowd. With all of the people around, it's not likely they'd notice me, but I'm still careful not to look right at them. Omega training taught me that it's hard to remember a face if you've never made eye contact. At 45th Street, we reach a security checkpoint where the police start herding us like farm animals into barricaded chutes. I almost wind up in the wrong one, but I fight my way against the flow of people and wedge in behind the two suspects. Eventually, we dead end into a pen, and once it's full, a policeman puts up another barricade behind us and closes us in. There's no getting in or out for food or bathroom breaks. This is where we're staying for the next 4.5 hours, until a giant crystal ball drops down a flagpole and signals the start of the new year. It's a classic New York tradition that dates back to the early 1900s, and the undead have been a part of it since the beginning. The fact that they've been coming all these years where anyone could see them, yet no one ever has, shows how clever the undead really are. Another thing the horror movies tend to miss. This year, however, it seems as though they may be coming out of hiding and stepping into the spotlight. We know the undead are planning something big for tonight, but we haven't been able to figure out exactly what it is. That's what has us worried. All we know for certain is that there are 1 million people who have nothing to protect themselves with except for noisemakers and paper hats. And us. Omegas old and new are scattered throughout Times Square. In fact, there are more Omegas here tonight than have ever been together before. That's because we're determined to make sure everyone else gets a chance to make their resolutions come true, too. I take my spot right behind the couple and wait. They're not going anywhere, and neither am I. I have 4.5 hours to figure out what their plan is and come up with a way to stop it. That gives me enough time to think back to when this started and try to notice any clues I might have missed along the way. It all began with the most indestructible zombie ever imagined, and a bowl full of British candy bars. 1. Trick or treat. I mean, seriously. So far this zombie had survived a lead pipe to the head, the total dislocation of his right arm, and a puncture in his stomach that now oozed yellow slime. Yet somehow, none of it had slowed him down. He just kept coming right at me doing the wail and flail, which is what we call it when a zombie makes those creepy moaning noises and walks all stiff-legged and jerky. I kept my cool when he flashed the death stare with his milky white eyes. But when he reached out and I saw the chunks of dead flesh dangling from finger bones right in front of my face, I couldn't help myself. I flinched. And how did my friends react? How do you think they reacted? They laughed hysterically. What? I asked defensively as I took off my 3D glasses and realized that I might have done more than flinch. The zombie was still there, frozen in mid-snarl on the giant television screen. Alex, who had just pressed the pause button on the remote, shook his head in total disbelief. I'm sorry, but aren't you the girl who just defeated Merrick Blackwell in an epic battle at the top of the George Washington Bridge? He pointed at the neon purple cast on my left arm. Isn't that how you broke your hand? Your point? My point is that you faced an actual level 2 zombie, he said. How can you be frightened by this ridiculous movie? I'm not frightened, I said